Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. September 9th, 2022. Today, we are talking about solution-focused problem solving. Finding the solution without getting lost in the problem. Today, on Productive Not Busy.
You're listening to the Productive Not Busy podcast, where we show you how to do life and business confident, focused, and with a plan so that you can make more money, have more free time, and less stress. Your host, Wayne Withersby, will uncover actionable hacks, strategies, tips, and insights you can use today to live a better, more productive life. It's time to boost your mindset, confidence, and your attitude. Here's your host, Coach Wayne.
So what are we talking about with solution-focused problem solving? Well, like Jim Rohn used to say, focus on the solution, not the problem. Okay. So generally, when we have a problem, the focus is on what's missing, what is wrong. So when we're doing that, we risk getting lost in the deficits, which may lead to more challenges and fewer solutions. See where I'm going with that? The solutions-focused model looks at problem solving from a more positive perspective. Rather than focusing on deficits, the focus is on the strength, the skills, experiences, resources, support, so forth and so on. This problem-solving method helps us hone in on what we bring to the problem and ways to address it rather than what we are lacking. The problem becomes manageable and the process is kind of empowering when you look at it that way. So we're going to discover the steps in the solution folks model and ways to apply it to your daily life. The process lends itself to most issues. The more you apply it, the easier it is to use. Using questions to identify details. This episode's going to be your guide to step by step to think through your experiences and draw from your repertoire of strengths and address the challenge. The result is less time focused on the many aspects of the issue more than the actual time and getting to a solution. So learn more about the questions you can use to find your solutions and how to apply each one. And there's going to be, stages of change, the basic concepts of the solution-focused problem solving, the exploring the change question, coping question, the scaling question, the miracle question, all that goodness. So here we go. So first of all, we're going to talk about stages of change before problem solving. It's helpful for us to get clear about our intentions. What are you looking for from the process? What changes will you need to make as you apply your solution? There are many stages in the change process, so being clear about what you need from the experience is important, and it may save you a lot of time. There are costs and benefits involved in making changes, of course. Follow the story of, let's call her Karen, as she uses this information to start an exercise program, okay? The state of change that she's going through is, my doctor told me I need to start exercising and to build my strength. So she needed to consider this. At some point, Karen is only considering this as a request of her doctor. She's not seriously thinking about it, but is lingering with the idea in the back of her brain. So then she contemplates, right? Well, I'm having trouble getting up the stairs. Maybe I should see what options are available. Well, and then she gathers the information, right? Gathering information is the goal in this stage. Researching alternatives, asking for recommendations, calling to ask questions. Now Karen is actively thinking about the recommendation. And then you go into the determination stage. Well, my weakness is keeping me from doing this. It's keeping me from doing the things I like to do. I keep, up with my friends when we go to the mall. I need to make some changes. On the flip side of that, her mind is made up now. She's ready to make a commitment. So Karen develops a plan to begin. And we can apply this to anything in life. All right. So now she's got to take an action. Well, she buys a pair of good shoes and finds a class that fits her schedule, and she begins this new regimen. Okay. Karen joins a gym and starts classes 3 days a week. This plan works for her, and she feels better after only a few weeks. So, what's next? Well, you got to maintain. Keeping up with the schedule can be difficult with other things competing for your time, family, right? Life in general. So, Karen follows through, but it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because there's conflicts, right? Kids, husband, work. But she reminds herself how good it feels to take the stairs without stopping and going out with friends and with no concern for how she will, if she can keep up with them. It keeps her motivated. But the relapse. Holidays come up. She has to work late. She gets sick and she misses some of her classes for a couple of weeks. It's hard to get back into the routine, but she's ready to take some action again. So Karen asks for some support and encouragement from her friends. A woman who takes the same class offers to give her a ride to help her get back in the groove. She moves back into the routine without hardly any delay. Why? Let's look at that. She had an accountability partner. When you accept a ride from somebody to something, you're not wanting to let them down. So let's look at this, the cost and benefits of change. So when Karen considered the cost and the benefits of starting and returning to the exercise program, it helps you know, it helps her make the changes that are necessary. She's aware of the negative consequences she's experienced before and began the positive consequences after she began exercise. So by keeping these costs and benefits in mind, she's more motivated to keep up, right? The maintenance stage that we're talking about, even when it's hard and it becomes difficult. And relapse is something to remember as it happens in a whole lot of situations. If you plan for how to deal with relapses in advance, it's easier to get back in the action stage faster. She knew she needed support and encouragement in return to the regimen. So by asking for help when she needed it, she was back to her classes without any delay. The problem usually contains the solution. All right. So now we're going to talk about the basic concepts of solution focused problem solving. All right. So the underlying premise of this whole solution method is empowerment. Solution focused problem solving emphasizes solutions to problems, not the problem itself. Right? These tools help you focus on the times when things are better, knowing that you have these skills to address obstacles, you'll be more confident in your ability to resolve your challenges. So the strength perspective. Solution focused problem solving is based on strength perspective. You focus on your strengths, your skills, and your experience, your resources, and support of others rather than getting lost in the problem. So it may require this shift in your thinking, but the process you're learning here makes it easier. If you slip back into focusing on the problem, it may mean that you're not ready to make the change yet. That's why we have to have layers of support, right? In this model, we will explore the solutions, the support and the resources it can make any solution doable. So there are two layers of support to consider. The inner circle, okay, is the number one. The inner circle of support includes those that are close to you, your friends, family, your neighbors, people like, your babysitter, your nanny, housekeeper, pet sitter, others that rely on and call on for help most of the time when you need it. They're your go-to people for quick responses. Now, we have this outer circle. The outer circle of support includes others that you may be less involved with. Okay. This may include those you work with or go to church with, your medical, friends, your doormen at your apartment complex or whatever. There may be times when you come up with a possible solution that has worked before, but need to find a support person to make this happen. So checking with these layers of support may help you identify somebody that can help you. Steve Jobs used to say, if you define the problem correctly, you almost have the solution. All right. So tools for solution focused problem solving. So in this part of the podcast, you'll learn how to apply the tools of the trade. There are 4 questions you can use to walk through the process. There are times when you need someone to bounce things off of to get another perspective. Coaches, counselors, friends. Those are usually the ones that are helpful in these situations. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. It's a smart thing to do. The questions are designed to help you to identify what you have available to solve the problem by looking at times when things were better. So let's look at it. Exploring the change question, okay? This is fairly basic, not rocket science, but it's worth starting off with because using one of the other questions might be a little more difficult. Make a list of things you've done to address the issue. So let's go back to Karen, okay? In Karen's case of finding a way to get more exercise, the list may look like something like this by the time she's ready to take action, okay? She talked to a friend about her exercise routine. She explored the workout room in her building. She looked at websites about the, different programs. And then she called someone at work about walking, the walking club they had at lunch. Something that is taking an action towards what she's trying to accomplish. So, with these things in mind, she'll be able to recognize that she has made some steps towards her goal. This allows her to kind of continue to move forward without beating herself up or lack of progress and all that other BS that everybody goes through. The list also gives her a chance to note anything of interest that she's found out in each of those steps. So staying motivated can be hard. So anything you can do to acknowledge progress is helpful, especially when it's in writing. Next is the scaling question. Okay. Scaling question is probably your most versatile question. It's content free and not related to the problem. It makes no assumptions about the direction you need to take, and you can pick from the infinite possibilities, right? Our friend Karen may have used this in the contemplation stage of, of the change regarding her physical discomfort when she was doing the other exercise programs. So she might ask herself on a scale of 1 to 5, right? 5 being good as things get and 1 being bad as things get, where am I at today? You can ask yourself those questions. Today might be a 3. Well, what will it look like when I'm at a 4? And how will I feel different? Right? You might want to answer that question. I'll walk up these stairs with less pain and I'll be able to keep up with my friends when they're shopping, whatever. See where I'm going with that? And there's other ways to ask the scaling question, right? On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being good as it gets and 1 being as bad as things get, where am I at today? I'm going to respond to 3. Oh, when things were better, what was going on? What was I doing that worked? Well, let's see. She was walking a mile each day to work. She was walking a half a mile with her husband at night, but it is winter now, right? So that's not an option. There's always an excuse. So in this scenario, we would need to ask another question since that solution is not possible at this time. Like, what did I learn from walking after work that I can apply to finding a new way of exercising now while it's winter? Okay. Then you go to the coping question. This question is great for getting out of crisis mode or when you're overwhelmed by the problem. The purpose is to change the focus from overwhelming elements of the problem to the strengths, skills, and experiences that you have to solve that challenge. You recall how you coped with similar situations in the past and what worked. What can you apply from that situation, even if it's not the total solution to your current issue? The coping question might be a good one for the situation when you ask yourself, have I ever dealt with something like this before and how did I cope with it? This is a possible solution, but another support person, might be needed to make it happen. When looking for support people, you begin thinking about your inner circle, your friends, your family, your neighbors. If there's anybody in your inner circle that you can check, if there's nobody in your inner circle, excuse me, you can check with your outer circle of support. less personal support network might work. That is usually the professional organizations, medical teams, people you work with, or people you go to church with, online communities, whatever. Your ultimate goal is to develop a plan of action where all this is going. The final question is what happens next to explore this possibility? If you have no previous experience that applies to a situation, think of others you know that may have coped with that similar situation. Talk to them about getting ideas. If it's necessary, get online and start a support group. Then you have the miracle question. The miracle question is a way of getting outside the problem by suspending reality for just a minute to dream of a time when things will be better. It can go astray sometimes, so follow-up questions may be necessary. Okay? Let's say we have a friend who's been struggling with health-related challenges for a few years, and he's taking his medications, but the side effects are very difficult. That may make him feel bad, hopeless, or, you know, really fogged in his long-term results. So in this situation, the miracle question would do something like this. Suppose tonight, after you go to sleep, you wake up and your health issues are gone. What does that look like? Right? And let's say that they have, I don't know, diabetes. So, okay. My blood sugar would be 120, no pain in my feet. I would have lots of energy, no more depression. Just keep going. What else? Great question to ask yourself. What else? Oh, I'd be working in the shop with my dog, looking at the mountains and listening to Colorado public radio. Then you ask who else would notice the change. Oh, my wife would notice. She would notice that I'm not on the couch watching TV all day, playing video games. I'm not as grumpy. I'm finally working on things she asked me to do 6 months ago. What difference would all that make? Oh, I'd get more done. I'd feel better. You see where I'm going with that? You just keep asking the questions. You can do this to yourself too. So this is a lot to digest at once, I understand. But just remember to choose which question seems right for your situation, right? Consider where you are in the change process. What stages are you in? Remember, the process helps you look for experience, strength, skill, support, and resource so you can solve the problem. Don't get lost in it. Always start with exploring that change question and make a list of things that you've already accomplished. And then the coping question is a good one when feeling overwhelmed or in crisis. Remember to dig deeper when necessary. Ask yourself what, when, how, why. The scaling question works with things that you want to measure and or compare. What's going on right now? When was it better? What was happening? How can I do that again? And my favorite, the miracle question. The miracle question is not right for every situation, of course. If you're feeling overwhelmed, use the coping question when you need to look at concrete information about using the scaling question. The miracle question requires a lot of work and some finesse to get the realistic aspect of what you're doing. So why is that important to you? Well, how are you and have you made this happen before? And you can do anything you want right now. Come up with your next stage and do it. This whole episode's about taking action, coming up with a plan. Don't be afraid to hit the problem head on, right? It's not the problem. It's how we react to the problem that's the problem. So I want you to try this solution, this problem solving method with any challenge that you have that comes up and resolve your issue faster. And here's this crescendo here for this episode is this is the one about less stress, right? We talk about more money, more free time, and less stress. This one's about stress. Look at the problem. The problem is usually the reaction to the problem that is your problem. So make sure that you recognize that. Hope you guys have a great day. Be safe, take care, sell a bunch, and find somebody and say something nice. See you soon.
You've been listening to the Productive, Not Busy podcast. Please hit the subscribe and notification of new episodes button and visit us on social media like Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok for bonus content.